Alright, let's take a look at the lick played by me. Alright, now let's take a look at the fucking master, Gonzalo Bergara. So, what's going on, guys? Paul Provosti here, back with another freaking exciting lesson on Gypsy Jazz. This time it's actually real Gypsy Jazz, not Gypsy Jazz on the guitar. Interesting, right? Yeah. Well, I just got my first Gypsy Jazz guitar, the Altamira ML1, and it's an awesome guitar. Got set up by the guys over at Django Books. Michael Horowitz, great guy, really nice dude, and he recommended me this guitar, and I love it. And you know, these guitars are crazy because they're a little bit bigger than electric guitars, so they're a little bit harder to play, a little bit of a learning curve. Also, the action's a little bit higher, so it's just been a crazy learning process for me, especially going from electric to this. But it's a challenge within itself. It's fun. That's what matters most. So, this lesson is about the blistering fast Gonzalo Bergara licks that you hear out there when he plays, and it's just, you hear him play them and they're just so blistering fast, you're just like, holy shit, how is he doing this so clean, so pretty, so nice. His technique and his picking is just like, it's very warm, it just sounds really nice to the ear, you know. And so I've been trying to dissect these licks and figure out, okay, well, where does this come from? You know, and after doing a lot of research and breaking down some of his videos, I've kind of figured out a little bit of his approach to these crazy licks and these crazy arpeggios that he plays. So this one that I'm going over is actually for the song Coquette, and it's basically where it goes from the 5 to the 1. So Coquette, if you're going, it's from where you're going from that A back to that D major. So he does this one lick, and I have it in the beginning of the video that you just saw. But basically it goes like this. It's perfectly on that D. And basically what it is this A9 Arpeggio that's loosely based off this Django Arpeggio that we all know from Django's Tiger. I'm sure you've heard someone play this one. It goes like, that's like kind of like the quintessential Django E9 arpeggio, but we're going to bring it over to A. So, in a couple of the diagrams that I have over here, I show you that we got a comparison of how Gonzalo approached creating this arpeggio. And first we had the Django arpeggio, which would look like, and that's pretty straightforward. And all that really is if you're, let's just say you're an A, or you're playing over an A9, you're walking up to the 3rd chromatically, then you're going to do the 5th, the 7th, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th, and then the 2nd again. So that's what creates an arpeggio. It's when you separate each chord tone or chord into individual notes. But Django does this cool little walk-up thing in the beginning of it. Now what Gonzalo has done is, you know, we all know in gypsy jazz that when you're playing over the 5 chord, you can start a diminished arpeggio on the 3rd of your chord. So if you're in A, and this is your 3rd, 1, 2, 3, you start that diminished arpeggio right there. So it'll be like this. And that's a very typical thing in gypsy jazz. So, the point that I'm getting at with the diminished, the point that I'm getting at with adding the diminished elements to a dominant chord is that is what exactly Gonzalo is doing with this lick. So he's taking the beginning of this Django pattern, which is, but then he's adding a half-whole diminished scale right in the middle of it. So once he hits that 7th, he's going, and that's a half-whole diminished thing, which is totally cool in the gypsy jazz realm if you're playing over a dominant chord. And the cool thing about that is that you have 4 notes on a string, so it allows you to maintain this kind of like alternate pick thing. And it just feels really comfortable to the hand. You get this nice swing to it. Then after that, he continues the rest of the Django arpeggio, but he does it a little bit differently. He goes, and I think this is a purposeful thing because he adds 4 notes on the high E string, and what that allows you to do when you're starting new strings with a downstroke and you have 4 notes or any even number of notes, you're always going to end on an upstroke. So this allows string switching in gypsy jazz to be really easy, considering we have this very heavily downward pixelated angle. So up to this point, this is what the lick looks like. And that's what I would call the ascending part. Now the descending part is completely different. And this is, it's kind of strange, but I think there is a method to the madness with this descending part. If you notice in this next diagram, there's actually a shape in this kind of chromatic descending thing that he plays. So after he goes like this. And it's hard to say whether all this is just filler or if it's has any real harmonic or musical value, but either way it fits in to the swing of the song really well, because when you play it all the way through, you land right on the D right when you need to. And it's very methodically placed. All these notes are very methodically placed in a way so that it fills up the space of time so you can land right on the D right when you need to. But if you look at this shape, it looks very similar to the Django, the original Django shape that we're talking about. This part right here. It looks like this. But it's just a bunch of chromatic notes. And the great thing about this being a descending line is that it can be all alternate pitch since it's all even notes and numbers per string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you have this last kind of ascending part. And this is something Gonzalo does a lot. He'll circle a note, circle the 5th. definitely there is kind of a method to the madness with this, and it can be played at very high speeds, partially for two reasons. One thing is the ascending line. Basically, ascending in gypsy jazz is you can choose any number of notes per string, because if you have an odd number of notes on a string, you can just sweep to the next downstroke, like this one. There's two downstrokes in a row. Down, down, up. Down, down, up. So, but when you're descending, if you're going really fast, you want to just be able to alternate pick your way down. So that's why I think he chooses the. So the whole lick, all in all, is going to look like this. And it can be played at blisteringly fast speeds with ease. I mean, it only took me a day to really practice this lick, and it was fine. It wasn't really hard, because there wasn't any weird kind of like double downstroke string skipping stuff where you're going, which I'm still working on. So yeah, that's what makes this lick really great. And if you look at the diagrams, you can see how Gonzalo kind of modified Django's original A9 Arpeggio into his way of playing it, which is just a very comfortable way, I think, of playing gypsy jazz, because it allows you to do a lot more alternate picking and not a lot of sequential downstrokes while descending. So that's what makes this kind of special, and that's kind of why I wanted to point out this whole lick. And I'm going to put all these diagrams on the internet so that people can take a look at them and kind of dissect it and see what it's all about. And you'll see the similarities in these shapes, and Gonzalo talks about that a lot. It's like, it's all about seeing the shapes, and really that's all it is, you know. Just as long as you can keep moving the shapes around in your head, you can just freely play this seemingly very complex music, but really it's easy, anyone can understand it. And if the way that I see it, if one human can do it, another human can as well. It's not out of the realm of anyone's possibility. So that's what's up with this lick, and that's what makes this lick cool. So try it out yourself. Alright, one last thing I want to recommend to you guys is either downloading videos on YouTube to slow down in a program like Ableton or any DAW that you have, or getting the looper for YouTube right here, the Chrome extension. This guy is awesome, so that you can loop any video you want. You can set a loop right here. If you just click right here, you can tell the thing, oh, I want to loop blah 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 from blah blah blah, and then you just go to YouTube and you set the speed to 0.5, and that way you can slow down any lick you want and check it out. And honestly, that's what I do when I make these videos. I just go ahead and I just slow down these licks as slow as I can get them, and then just learn them. And then once you learn them, then that's how you throw that phrase in there. That's how you like
start to do the fucking damn thing.
Alright guys, have a good day.
1, 2, 1, 2.